Hello everyone. In today's video, we're going to talk about dealing with toxicity. What is the meaning of toxicity? You must be wondering. ये क्या होता है? Toxicity or toxicness is nothing but something that is not good for you, that's harmful, that can be poisonous, that can create negativity in you and make you feel upset, angry, cringe with bad emotions. Now, we all at this point of time are facing this kind of toxic issues a lot of times, almost every day, especially due to social media, people around us, and a lot of ambition which becomes jealousy and negative emotions. So this is what is happening around, and a lot of you have messaged me asking to talk about, hey, how do I deal with toxic people around me? How do I deal with toxic parents, toxic workplace, toxic relationships? So today I'm going to cover all of these topics. I'm going to talk about what is toxicity, which I just mentioned. Then I will speak about what are the different types of toxicity that you can get, and how do you deal with toxicity and with various situations of toxicity. So let's get started. Now, we spoke about what is toxicity or what is toxicness. Now, let's talk about where does this toxicity comes from? How do you identify toxicity, or how do you identify toxic behavior? So the first thing is the toxicity you get from people around you. Now, when you talk to certain people, have you ever felt that after you finish the conversation that you feel just so drained out? You feel so irritated, upset, angry. They give you a lot of negative thoughts, negative emotions. They gossip to you about others. They complain about the situation and about everything. They give you a lot of negativity. This is how you know that this person is toxic for you. He or she is not giving you a happiness or a happy moment after you speak to them. And this, I'm sure you can all identify that particular friend of yours or a person of yours at workplace. It happens a lot at workplace. Of course, it happens in families as well. So this is how you know that this particular person is bringing toxicity into my life, and that's how you realize. The next one, which I think is most critical in today, is not even the toxicity that you get from outside, but the toxicity you have within you. Each one of us have a lot of negative thoughts and emotions. We have a lot of jealousy. We compare ourselves with others. We are always benchmarking what we see in social media. Somebody is posting this amazing trip to overseas. You get jealous about it. So you have a lot of negative emotions. Do you realize that every day, every moment, every second, you're either thinking about the past or thinking about the future? In a negative way, in fact, mostly worrying, mostly upset, angry, unhappy. We have a certain goal in our mind or a target, and we don't achieve that, we feel we failed. And once we fail, we bring a lot of toxicity into our body. And do you know these are all chemical reactions in your body, right? So you have to know how to avoid to bring these negative chemical reactions and how to bring more positive reactions in your body. So that's the second point, which is toxicity within you. Now let's talk about how do you deal with toxic people. There are certain things that I recommend for all of you to follow. The first thing, when you know that this person is toxic, is to ignore them. It could be your best friend and they could be coming and complaining to you. It could be people around you, your closest family as well, or your teacher or your boss. Now, you need to know how to tactically ignore them. Ignoring them doesn't mean that you don't do anything what they say, but just ignore the negative parts of it. Ignore the emotions out of it and try to just not get swayed by all the negativity they're giving you. And how do they know that you're ignoring them without being very strong? Just don't contribute to the conversations, right? When they're talking about something negative, don't keep adding on to it and saying, yeah, you're right. Oh, that particular person who got promotion, he doesn't deserve it. Wo boss ka chamcha hai. If they say that, don't just say, yeah, you're right. This is what normally we do, because we want to feel part of the team. We want to feel part of a gang. So if a gang is coming and having a cigarette, for example, we all feel like joining them to feel part of the gang. So just ignore them and just try to not be in that conversation mode all the time and try to withdraw from that. The second thing is most difficult, but I believe in it very strongly, which is staying positive. Whatever people tell you, it is you who have to decide to accept it or not. Now, if you take it in, it goes into your head. If you don't take it in, nothing affects you. They say be like a Teflon, like a non-stick pan. Nothing sticks on it. So a lot of people used to say, hey, you're like a Teflon, nothing sticks on you. That's what you should try to practice. Even if people try to drill into your head a lot of negative thoughts and emotions, don't get swayed by it. Just ignore, but staying positive. Having good thoughts. After they finish the conversation, take a few breaths, calm yourself down. Then you will feel a little bit more better. Think of some positive things, visualize positive things. In fact, what I do is every day morning, after I wake up and I brush my teeth, I just give a big smile and I say, I'm so happy today. I feel wonderful. I'm so thankful. It just brings the happiness into your body. Just try this right now. Just pause the video for 5 seconds. Just close your eyes, breathe, and just say positive things. You will feel better. Even in meditation, you can do positive visualization, right? You can close your eyes, visualize as if you're sitting in a beautiful lake with flowers and fruits and birds chirping. And just try this for a minute or two every day. Automatically you start becoming more and more positive, and you can deal with those kind of emotions as well. The third one, often our parents say this, right? Be away from negative people, be away from toxic people. So distance yourself. Try as much as possible to reduce your interactions with them. Don't try to be around them. If you see them, maybe just go somewhere else. You're not trying to run away, but you're just trying to be away from negative kind of people around you. One thing I do is I avoid even negative news, reading a lot of negative news, negative kind of movies, negative kind of shows, which brings a lot of negative thoughts into your head. So try that. That will also help you a lot. The next point is again a very common problem, which is forwarding toxicity. We all have this habit of, if you hear a gossip, you call your friends and talk about it. A lot of people will call you and say, hey, I want to tell you this, but don't tell anyone. And that person sells it to somebody else. Then it goes to somebody else. Like a Chinese whisper, people just keep talking about negative things and we seem to love it, right? Like now COVID, right? Every phone call I get is always about yahan pe COVID, wahan pe COVID, this person is affected, this person is in hospital. I'm like, I don't want to know about it seriously. If there is anything I can do to help, then you tell me. Otherwise, I don't want to know. It's so irritating and frustrating. So do not forward negative thoughts and emotions and toxic behavior to anyone else. If you've got it from someone, you can actually distance yourself or avoid or ignore, like I mentioned. If you can't do that, at least consume it within you and just go away. Do not forward it to anybody else. That's going to create even more problems. It spreads like a wildfire. And we all know what WhatsApp toxic behaviors have caused. It's caused wars. It's caused a lot of issues in families and circles and things like that. Sometimes you read about news, right? Somebody forwarded a morphed picture or a video of some bad things, right? Like maybe somebody getting humiliated or insulted or physically abused, and then you forward it to somebody else. Why do you want to do that? Please don't forward negativity at all in any form, by mouth or by WhatsApp or by messages or whatever. The last one I wanted to say in this topic is focus. It reminds me of the story from Mahabharata when Arjuna and his friends were doing this bow and arrow, shooting a target. The guru told them, look at the bird's eye and shoot the bird's eye. And only Arjuna was able to say that I only see the eye and nothing else. So if you have a focus in life, you don't get influenced by the negativity and toxicity. So try and focus on something which is positive for you, and then everything around you becomes a noise. Then you don't even worry about it. This is what I would suggest as some options you can do to handle with these kind of toxicity. But don't pause or exit. I have some superb tips now for all of you that you can help to deal with toxic behavior around you. First is, how do you deal with toxic friends? It could be your best friend. Now, you can't just walk away and ignore. First thing you can do is try and talk to him. Not at the same time, but maybe another time when he's calm and relaxed, he or her, talk to the person, tell them why this is not helping, and give a bit of a stern advice as a friend कि ये मत करो यार, ये तेरे लिए भी मेरे लिए भी अच्छा नहीं है. Try to advise them that this is not good for you or for me. Let's not talk about these negative things. Avoid these conversations, kind of discussion you should have with them. You're helping them as well, right? The next part is dealing with toxic behavior from family members. Now remember that all this toxicity in family usually is because of certain situations at home, right? Either, they want you to get married, you don't want to get married. They want you to study engineering, you don't want to study engineering. They want you to wake up early, you don't want to wake up early. So because of that, they start scolding you. Your parents will say, "Tu sudharega hi nahi, you never improve, you're so useless, you're not eating properly, you're always watching TV." Now, they're also telling it for your benefit, so please understand them. Don't just think that your father or your mother is an enemy. I used to think for many years that my dad is my enemy, right? So now I realize he was just doing it for my own good. So that's how you deal with toxic parents, is understand them and just let that situation pass through. Things will get back to normal. Don't take it to heart. Toxic workplace. This is very challenging, right? You may have a situation where all your workplace people are negative. They speak bad about the company, the culture, the boss. Whatever the company does, there will be certain people in the company, they'll always talk bad. Now, firstly, you can try to talk to them if you think that it's possibility. Try to tell them, "Okay, why do we want to do this and stuff?" But if you think they don't listen and continuously keep doing it, you must inform the HR or the bosses or somebody in the senior levels who will listen. You think you will listen to you. So try and find that person. Tell them, "Ki, this is what is happening. Can you please do something about it?" They may be able to help you as well. But please don't sit in a toxic work environment forever. If nothing is improving, quit your job. That's very, very important. So this is how you deal with toxic workplace, toxic friends, and toxic family members. Lastly, I want to tell you all that nobody wakes up in the morning and decides to be toxic. The environment, the upbringing, the behavior is what makes them toxic. So please don't feel very bitter about anyone. Just try to understand that this is part of life and it's bound to happen. So don't stress about it too much. Empathize with them. Try to help them. If it doesn't work, follow the tips that I mentioned in the video. I hope you liked the video. Please do forward it to your friends and share it with your friends. And do comment if you've tried any of these techniques and if it works for you. Thank you so much for listening to me. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel as well. See you in the next video. Bye.